Hello there, Internet. My name is Scott, and this is my review of the Australian Stable Population Political Party. I'm reviewing all of the political parties that we have in the country, all the registered ones, and there are 54 of them. We have the 2013 Australian federal election, which happens next week, and so I am looking at all of them, every single party, and seeing what makes them tick. Now, my review of the Australian Stable Population Party. Now, I must admit, this is one of my most interesting parties. Probably the party that made me think the most. Um, I I really got into the philosophical side of this party, or more correctly, I asked myself questions for a long time when I came across this party. Um, so I found it a really interesting party to review. Okay, I just want to start this review by talking about Sir David Attenborough. Most people know David Attenborough as a documentary maker and uh, known in almost every household in the world, in the English-speaking world, as an infamous naturalist and a Darwinist, and he's a huge supporter of population control. He famously said that humans are quote a plague upon the earth, end quote. Um, and in that vein, we have the Australian Stable Population Party. Now, um, uh, the party, they basically bring a really utilitarianist reasoning into the immigration debate. Um, the party is not necessarily anti-immigration, but they are for heavily regulating it from a purely numerical perspective, nothing to do with race or circumstance or culture, purely numbers. Um, and interestingly, this is where it gets interesting. They're one of the biggest supporters, as far as political parties go, of international aid and helping other countries and being a global citizen, which makes a very interesting philosophical dilemma. I would love the chance to talk about this party in a class full of philosophy students, ethics students, and just you could talk about it for hours. They're not necessarily for immigration at all, but they believe that there's basically too many humans on Earth, and they let's talk about that more a little later on. So ideally, the party would really like to use international aid as a way of stopping immigration from happening in the first place, rather than dealing with just the symptoms of immigration. They'd like to deal with the causes. And they have a particular focus on female rights and education, which is a massive humanitarian issue and is a huge global level problem. A lot of Australian parties only deal with Australia. This is one of the few that have a very strong stance on international aid. I repeat, international aid, the helping of other countries directly. So that it's not many parties even have a policy on that. Yeah, in the meantime, the Australian Stable Population Party, now they want to set up a system of, I guess, what is called zero net immigration. That is not zero immigration. That's a system where you only let in as many people as those that leave. It's very much like we have a similar policy in place as does almost every country in the world that looks after sections of Antarctica. Antarctica's tourism trade is causing a threat to the ecology of Antarctica, and so there's basically an international agreement to only have a limited amount of tourists who can go there at any one time, and if you want to visit Antarctica, you have to wait until other tourists are gone. That's basically the idea that they want to apply to Australia's immigration. Um, Now, the party have been called a one-issue party. I've pretty much encapsulated everything they stand for here. But they describe population growth as basically the everything issue in Australia. Well, no, not just in Australia. They just describe it as the everything issue. That means that it directly affects the national economy and employment and health and our infrastructure needs and the environment as well. The party leader is a guy called William Burke, and he's a small business owner, but he has interests in economy and also the environment. So I'm not even going to try and call his party either libertarian or conservative. Fascinating. I don't know what to say. How can you call, I guess you'd call it population health on a global level, almost, I'm sure there's a fancy term for it. I know it's not epidemiology, but it's something like that. But nevertheless, it's a science-based approach to policy. It's absolute science. But at the same time, it's not necessarily supporting immigration for immigration's sake. So there are all sorts of humanist issues there, and it's an ethical quagmire. I wouldn't dare say that the party is immoral by any means. Who can prove them wrong? It's fantastic to see them on the ballot paper. It really does throw a lot of. It really does require a lot of thought and creative thought and scientific thought to this issue of population, and so it's wonderful to see them pressing this issue, which they're really passionate about. That's all that I can say about the. That's all I have to say about the Australian Stable Population Party. If you want to find out more, please check out their website. There's a link to that in the description to this video. And feel free to like and share. You're welcome to check out any of the other videos I have on other political parties, and you'll see them in my YouTube channel. And I'll see you for my next party review soon.
Well, sometimes I feel